Now, before I get to the focus, I'd like to tell you about my love for video games. I love them. I just love them. It takes too much of my time, I must admit, but I love it nonetheless. Now, with anybody who plays video games, they must have had an encounter called the new challenge experience. So let's say you're playing a mission game. When you overcome a particular stage, you see new level unlocked. That means you've gotten to a new phase. You're now at a stage where you haven't experienced before, but you're all the more excited for what it holds. The focus for this hour is a new level. Bandits who abducted 121 students of Bethel Baptist High School, Maraban Rido, Kaduna State, reiterated their demand for rice and other foodstuff to feed the abductees. An official of the school involved in the negotiation with the bandits said that they called again on Wednesday and stated that they had run out of food. Newsman reported the bandits had contacted school management and confirmed they were holding 121 students of the school. According to the official, the bandits said the students would be starved as they had no food to feed the 121 abductees in their custody. Recall that bandits in the early hours of Monday invaded Bethel Baptist High School, Maraban Rido along Kaduna Kachia Road and abducted 121 students. Now, we've had a lot of school abductions from Dapchi to Chibok. None have requested for food, so that means they've always had the capacity to feed them. This is a new level. The question is, what does this mean for us? Helping to answer that question is Mr. Igho. Akeregha is a public policy analyst, a conflict manager, media and strategic communication expert, and a member of the Nigeria Guild of Editors. Good morning, Mr. Akeregha. Thank you for joining us. Hello, are you there? Oh, the answer to that is a big no. So we're going to try to call Mr. Akeregha again to understand what this new level presents for us. But as a Nigerian, just observing, just listening, I've said this many times, that if you do not have entertainment, just following Nigerian news will provide it. And that's supposed to be a good thing, but it's not. It is not. Bandits are demanding for food. Not from the government, but from the parents of those children. They are stating that if you do not send them food, they will starve to death. Now, I'm concerned because the idea is for the kids not to even die in the first place. Now, you're scared that these bandits will kill the children. The bandits are telling you that hunger is a bigger threat. And if you don't send food, they will die. So are we at the position where we choose what the kids should die by? Whether it's by the bullet or by starvation. Well, I think we have Mr. Akeregha back on the phone. Good morning, sir. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. Yes. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, very well. I'm from Port Harcourt today, and good morning to all Nigeria.
Yes, Port Harcourt is wonderful. I'm sure Abuja is good as well. All right.
Yeah, Abuja is okay.
Okay. So let's talk about the bandits demanding food. I said earlier that this is a new level, but I'm concerned about what the implications of this demand is. Does it show that we are overwhelmed by bandits? Does it show that the bandits are now bolder? What exactly does this represent in the larger scheme of things?
Well, I'm sure at this point most Nigerians are very, very shocked. They are surprised that the bandits are across, particularly the northern part of Nigeria. The ones in the south are still holding out to the bushes and in the forest. They have not been completely emboldened. They have not been as courageous as those in the north, who are now making very ridiculous demands, including supply of foodstuffs to them, supplying them with bags of loaves of bread, rice, indomie, and all of that. That is the situation we have found ourselves in this country. But I do not also think that for anyone who is following the development in the last 6 years, since the advent of this administration, I do not think that there will be so much of a surprise. Because while you have the governor of Katsina State, Masari, posing with bandits wielding AK-47 rifles, and then you have prominent Islamic Sheikh Gumi, also asking the federal government to rehabilitate them, grant them amnesty, and that they do not like what they are doing, and that the killings that they are involved in and the abductions are just some kind of business, and that they are willing to come out of it. and several pronouncements, including the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Muhammad, who told Nigerians that bandits should be allowed to carry K-47, that it is part of their own pastoralist culture and tradition. Whilst the government can, of course, take off from Nigeria their own locally made rifles and all that, mostly for hunting and self-defense. So the bandits basically have been emboldened by these pronouncements coming from senior government officials. And that is where people are a bit worried that this discriminatory behavior and discriminatory practices and comments coming from government officials, that's where the bandits are drawing their oxygen from. They are drawing their inspiration and their encouragement. And the earlier, the federal government comes up with a policy to clearly stem them, to rein them in, I think the better for all. Because as it is, if you look at the figures that came out of UNESCO yesterday, UNESCO is saying that about 833,000 students, children in the north out of school as a result of forced closure of their own schools as a result of invasion and abduction by bandits. So that's a very worrisome figure. At the time that, in fact, the statistics are also showing that the north is fairly educationally disadvantaged compared to the rest of the southern part of the country. So I would think that northern governors should have taken a cue from this and encourage serious protection for their own schools. But the comments and the views and the actions coming out from the northern governors, I do not think it is very encouraging. They are rather more interested in the presidency 2023 and struggling with the South over which region should produce the presidency. They should be more concerned about the security stabilization in the north. For me, and I'm sure most Nigerians might be taking along this line this morning, that should be the greatest focus of the northern political elite.
All right. Now, the body language of the political elite is one thing. The action is another. How would you assess the government's efforts at different levels, state and federal, in curbing school abductions in particular?
It has been lackadaisical. It has been very weak. The government response, basically, because this is just not happening once, twice, three times. It's been recurring. It got to global limelight when the Chibok girls were kidnapped during Jonathan. That is about 2014 or thereabout, and that was that was the twilight of the outcry against the Jonathan government. That also made many Nigerians to cast their vote against the former president. So the response generally so far across the country, whether at the local government level, at the state level, and at the federal level, has been extremely very disorganized, disjointed, and disoriented, such that it has emboldened this band. What are we talking about here? We have, unofficial security organs like the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, that has about 1 million trained men. The officers and men of the Vigilante were trained by the Nigerian Police, the Department of State, and even the Army. And they've been playing a critical role with the Nigerian Army in the Northeast frontier, the battlefront. They are mostly a part of the civilian joint task force. So I do not know why local government administration across the country, particularly in the north, and the state government, will not enlist the services of the Vigilante Group members, at least to secure the schools. We have the state school initiative that was, at some point, that was suggested by the United States. And I do not know how much the federal government is interested in prosecuting that agenda of ensuring that the schools are safe. But what is on the ground? I'm in Abuja here, for example. Yes, kidnapping is not as obvious in Abuja, particularly at back of schools, as you can find in other parts of the country. What we find in Abuja, for example, is attacks on isolated suburbs, communities in Abuja like Chugamaji, some areas of Kubwa, and all of that, where some of these bandits are hiding out of the mountains and occasionally coming down to launch attacks. But from Kaduna, as we move towards Kaduna State, Kaduna has become the epicenter of school abduction. And the governor, Orócle appears to be helpless, overwhelmed. That's the truth. every time you see the Commissioner for Internal Security, one Samuel Akeregha, always coming to sympathize with, with communities and distressed parents whose children have been marched from classrooms to the bushes. And it is just bewildering that Chapter 2 or so of the Constitution that talks about the purpose of government, which is to focus on the security and welfare of citizens, is just not of concern to this government authorities, whether at the local government, state, and federal level. I've not actually seen, apart from the comment coming from the president where he said that all AK-47 wielding individuals should be shot outside. That is just the first, that the president said that's the first reaction that he has given. But he was quite pragmatic, quite reactionary, proactive when it came to the issue of Mazi Nnamdi of indigenous people of Biafra, and of course, Sunday Igho, who is also active for the Yoruba nation. Is one of the progenitors and the advocates of the Yoruba nation. The president was able to move in quickly and try to stem those agitations. So one would have thought that with parliamentary blossoming since he came into power in 2016, he should have devised a strategy to deal with this group of marauders, most of whom actually are not Nigerians, who came from outside the country, because that is really the narrative now. And the president himself has alluded to, he has clearly admitted that many of them, came in through the Libyan corridor, coming from Libya, Niger, Chad, and then finding their way through the porous borders to Nigeria. And of course, I don't like saying, most of them are Fulani from the same ethnic stock with the president. So nobody knows perhaps that's why the president is a bit weak at frontally dealing with this character. But as it is, they have really unsettled the advocates. They have clearly disorganized the entire educational system in the northeast, northwest, and north central part of the country. And even for the next administration in the next 2 years, 2023, that will be coming in, I do not know. By then, it has almost become a state institution. It's now a big business. So to dislike them by the day is getting much more difficult, except something urgent.
All right. So
this is really the challenge.
Yeah, you've given quite the analysis, and you've touched on a lot of things. There are many questions that I would obviously want to double click on. Now, let me go back to Kaduna, which seems to be a hotspot right now for school abductions. In that state, we've had kidnapping in Greenfield University, School of Forestry Mechanization, and now Bethel Baptist School. Can we draw any conclusions from the patterns of abductions? Going back to talking about body language, could there be anything that the state government may have done or said that may have attracted this level of heat, particularly in that state?
Sorry, I didn't get all the parts of that question. Apparently, there is a challenge to the network. But if I hear you talk about the state government body language. I don't know whether we are talking specifically about the body language of Governor El-Rufai.
Yes, for Kaduna State.
Yes. Well, don't forget also, the governor is also of the Fulani stuff. And many of these bandits, kidnappers, and all of that, I hate to call them bandits. Well, who is a bandit? Rather, we have also had conversation around the issue of El-Rufai and some of the current political actors is not procuring services of some of these fighters. Because when you say bandit, it gives you some kind of protective coloration. These are what tested fighters, from Central African Republic, Libya, the Tuareg religion, and then the Tuareg, who have been known to be involved in multi-sectoral warfare across Africa. And then to ask former President Jonathan, it has been a public discourse that some of these individuals were procured and brought to the country. So it is not so much of body language by El-Rufai. It has also become an Achilles heel. It's a burden on his back. Because here you are having people who are full and stuff from where he also comes from, unleashing so much havoc in his own state. We have also heard about the involvement of Neji Allah, Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, NAGBA, who admitted that they were the first group to officially open negotiation with these so-called bandits, whom I will refer to, for the purpose of clarity. These are fighters, brought into the country to actually destabilize the process of government. So they were brought in, and at some point, on their behalf, NAGBA demanded a 1 billion naira from the federal government to take to these people so that they can go back to where they come from. I think at some point we all know that over 100 million or much more than that, I think it's 1 billion naira, was actually released by the federal government and through NAGBA and given to these people. It was after the receipt of this time that we saw a heightened attack by these fighters. Because apparently they also then realized that Nigeria is a big cash cow. Here you can make a lot of money just doing nothing. Holding the government, shutting down the highways and then taking travelers. So as it is, it has become an intractable and complex business. Masari, the governor of Katsina, I think was reported as also saying, is it Masari that says so now? I think it's even Erufai himself who said that the mindset of the average Fulani is that banditry has become a much more lucrative and attractive business to him.
Well, the problem,
heading of cows,
Mr.
Because as it is, how much will you sell a cow?
Okay, now let's touch.
I think so it's not much. It's not so much of body language.
Okay.
I've also seen some kind of complicity, weakness, and inactivity on the part of government in dealing with these characters.
Okay, so let's touch on the ethnicity thing, because it's obviously the elephant in the room. You have people who disturb the peace of a nation, and a majority of them might be from a particular ethnicity. But considering that there are people who are also from that part of the country who may not engage in that particular activity, it puts the average person of that ethnicity at a very difficult position, considering that now it looks like his region and religion is connected to banditry. How do we reconcile that?
Again, I didn't get all the parts of the question. You're talking about people from a particular ethnic group also being in government, and yet the region where they are active in politics appear to be engulfed. Not appear, it's clearly engulfed in this insecurity. And is that the crux of the question? I'm sure that is about the summary of what I heard you talking about.
No, it's not. It's the Fulani tag, Even though that ethnicity might be attached with some level of disturbance with some of the fighters, of course, we're looking at every other person who may not engage in such activities, and that tag of that ethnicity being attached to violence becoming a problem.
Well, yeah, not everyone in fact, we even have Fulanis that are peace-loving people that are involved in legitimate business, legitimate pursuit of their own livelihood. So that is why it's also very dangerous to just profile that group and say that almost every Fulani man is dangerous to the stability of Nigeria. That is not entirely correct. As it is, the component part of this country, not west, south, east, and west, and everywhere, we all have a responsibility for the unity of this country. Now, when you have almost the entire north almost up in flames, engulfed by insecurity, now we don't forget we have Boko Haram that has recently been subsumed by Islamic State, West Africa, Province Iswap, and then you have these bandits actually targeting communities, and the educational base of the North, which is also the core objective of Boko Haram.
Boko Haram,
yeah. Said that Western education is Igho, Boko is Haram.
Yeah.
Forbidden. And then these bandits are now attacking the institutions, the educational institutions. So it would appear as if they are just pursuing the same objective, actually helping to achieve that objective. Now, not everybody did not agree with their models, with their own activities, but they are just not speaking speaking loud enough against the activities of these bandits that have created so much outcry, bloodshed, sorrow, agony in the entire north. Now it is so difficult even traveling from Abuja to Kaduna State, not to talk of going further down to the northern part of this country. So how would business thrive? How would the economy of the region grow when it has become extremely difficult to move by road? The train service from Abuja to Kaduna is always fully booked. Most of the elites also, they go by the train. So that is how bad the situation has become. Yes, I agree, not everyone enjoys the sympathy of these bandits and these marauders. But what are they doing about it? I'm sure that if there's a unanimity of purpose to deal with the issue, by reporting, by providing intelligence to security agencies, by also mobilizing the communities against their own activities, then I'm sure that the matter will be half solved. The top important here also is that the government must also find a way to provide arms for the community for self-defense, because it's not just enough to complain and laugh. It is now actually time to provide some form of self-defense mechanism for the community across the country, not only in the north, to defend themselves against this marauder. That is where we are. That is the point we are. That is just a practical approach to resolving this issue.
Well, every time this issue has come up, arms for self-defense, it has always been tagged controversial, and that's where it's always been. So it's difficult to have that argument around weapons for self-defense, where controversy is the first title of the conversation. But anyways, I completely understand your position. Now, Mr. Akeregha, we have to take a break, and after that, you and I will talk about the way forward. Don't go anywhere.
All right. I'll be with you. Thank you.
The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, with scenes all over the European continent, traversing state lines and capitals, from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global and the cast nationwide, covering every blade of grass on Nigeria's #1 radio station for sports and talk, Nigeria Info. Reach out for sponsorship and advertising. Euro 2020 with Femi and the gang on Nigeria Info. Live football, just the way you like it. The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, with scenes all over the European continent, traversing state lines and capitals, from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global and the cast nationwide, covering every blade of grass on Nigeria's #1 radio station for sports and talk, Nigeria Info. Reach out for sponsorship and advertising. Euro 2020 with Femi and the gang on Nigeria Info. Live football, just the way you like it. The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, with scenes all over the European continent, traversing state lines and capitals, from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global and the cast nationwide, covering every blade of grass on Nigeria's #1 radio station for sports and talk, Nigeria Info. Reach out for sponsorship and advertising. Euro 2020 with Femi and the gang on Nigeria Info. Live football, just the way you like it. The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, with scenes all over the European continent, traversing state lines and capitals, from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global, and the cast nationwide, covering every blade of grass on night.
Nation liberates. How informed do you need to be to thrive in a fast-changing world?
Listen to experts only.
Keep your dial locked on 92.3 Nigeria Info for the best of news, talk, and sports 24/7.
I am listening.
This is the Morning Crossfire on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. Indeed, it is the Morning Crossfire. I've heard from reliable sources, which I choose to believe, that this place hosts Port Harcourt's biggest conversation. We're talking about school kidnappers demanding food for abducted children. They've told the parents if they do not send the food, the kids will starve to death. My guest is Mr. Igho Akeregha. He's a public policy analyst, conflict manager, media and strategic communication expert, and member Nigeria Guild of Editors, and he's still on the phone all the way from the nation's capital, Abuja. You're welcome once again, Mr. Akeregha.
Welcome back with you. Thank you very much, and I appreciate Nigerians this morning for listening in.
All right. Now, let's look at the Nnamdi Kanu and the Sunday Igbo issue, which seems like they're reps for different ethnic groups. Now, you've said, and a lot of Nigerians have said, that the government was proactive. They were able to capture and return Kanu from another country. There was a raid on Igboho's residence by the DSS. And they were proactive with those issues, but with banditry and kidnappings, they are reactive. Now, on the other side of the argument, some would say the banditry issue is already an existing problem, which we are trying to handle. The Sunday and Kanu issue are problems which we are trying to prevent. Do you think that's a solid argument? That even though we have existing problems, we're trying to stop more problems from adding to our already existing. So that's the reason for proactivity and reaction on two different sides.
Well, I'm some people pushing those kind of arguments are pro-government people, the lackeys, and those who are trying to promote and whitewash the absolute and clear failure of this administration. Nobody, I'm not sure any reasonable Nigerian at this point would say that, the activities of the Igbo, Nnamdi Kanu, didn't just start. It's not a new issue. Don't forget, the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra started even during the days of former President Obasanjo, even way back. And that struggle by Rafu Wazirike, who actually was one of the faces of Masob at the time, was as a result of the injustice that is still sustained against the Igbos to tomorrow. In a country where you have 6 regions, with each of the regions having 5 states, 6 states, and with only the Southeast having only 5 states, you cannot justify that argument that the rest of the country has been very stuck to the Southeast. That is one. And clearly there are no federal structures in the Southeast, whether in terms of military institutions, military establishments, apart from military barracks that are established to subjugate the people of that region. There are no training facilities, no serious federal government presence, no federal government productive institutions and research centers and all of that across the Southeast. And of course, the infrastructure in that region is very powerful. So there's every reason for agitation coming from that region. And that was why we said that first and foremost, in 1967, Colonel Dumegu Ojukwu started the insurrection and declared that part of the country Biafra, moving it away from Nigeria. And since then, historically, it has been there. The trajectory moved down to that of Masob, and then they came to IPOP Nnamdi Kanu. So those who said that, who are saying that, it is just a new issue. It's not a new issue. Then we come to the Southwest. Now, the Southwest, if you look at also the history of the Southwest is the most educationally developed and politically conscious region of the country. Yes, the Southwest helps to bring about through the coalition of the Action Congress of Nigeria, of course, headed by former Lagos State Governor Chinedu,
yeah,
who mobilized all the political elements of the Action Congress of Nigeria, and they coalesce into with some political actors of the All Progressive Grand Alliance after its start. It is just a combination of this and the alignment of this force, along with the CPC, the Congress for Progressive Change, which of course was led by President Buhari. That's from the ATC. So the Southwest actually had to bring in this gap. But the Southwest also put to recognize the deep failures of this administration in terms of all the promises that were made. One of the key promises about restructuring, creating political and economic prosperity for every Nigerian. The current vice president of the country, Professor Shibajo, is of the Southwest extraction. But that is not enough oxygen for the Southwest to tolerate the United Police of this government. So Igho coming up is as a result of many years of encroachment and land grabbing, adventure of so-called Fulani headers and Marudas. Like I said earlier, these are just fighters who were brought, to pursue very clearly an agenda that's moving around religion and, some kind of displacement of the people, wipe them out and take over their ancestral land. There's just no two ways about that. And then with the political actors in the Southwest not seem to be quite active in stemming the onslaught. If you look at the Barapa area in Oyo State, Okeregha, and all those parts where you have the Fulani warlord, Iskali, who then carved out big swath of land for himself and declared the place a Fulani territory, and then tie red flags around that the place was a no-go area. So no right-thinking person will sit down and allow some strangers come into your own territory and then carve a swath of territory for themselves. So Igho took it upon himself, along with a few people who were thinking, along with after several demands of the government leaders. And then he took her there personally, and that was what has started the attack on the Southwest. And you also know I'm from the South Side. The South is not free from the invasion of these herdsmen, these fighters. You see them everywhere within sophisticated weapons. So basically, for those who are arguing that it is a new phenomenon, it is not true. And if it is in any way, in any case, why did Nigerians vote out the People's Democratic Party? It is because of the seeming incompetence of the PDP in dealing with the national security question. And yet this is promising Nigerians that there are 7 and 8, butter and meat, that they have everything the other wants. And in fact, at some point, they said the Naira was going to be brought almost at par with the dollar. So much promises were made. How can anybody, any right-thinking Nigerian at this point, compare the current situation to the pre-2015 days, pre-2016 days when this administration came to power? The answer is a clear no.
Okay.
Now, if Jonathan was in power and then you saw the people, the people of his own ethnic stuff, invading farmland, killing people, beheading people, raping women, disturbing Nigerians from freely enjoying their movement, do you think that the other parts of the country would have allowed Jonathan to survive 1 year in office? They wouldn't have. There would have been a grand swell of mobilization against the former president.
All right, Mr.
So
Akeregha.
here we have the president right now who is very active and is not saying anything, very practical to do.
Okay, so we have to take calls now. Time is not a luxury we can afford. Finally, because all of this has to go towards some form of solution, what must be done to correct all of this?
It has to start with the president of the country. General Muhammadu Buhari knows where, I'm sure, he must have he received security report. He must have an idea where himself has clearly identified their routes. Let him direct the security forces to block their routes so that more of them cannot come. And then you deploy security forces. We have drones everywhere. We have the Air Force flying around the country. cannot pretend that we don't know where these bandits are located. Are we now saying that if the foreign armies invade Nigeria and they are hiding in our forest, we cannot fight them and flush them out? Is that what we are telling ourselves? So the president is the commander-in-chief. He should deploy, he has control over the army. He should deploy them to the forest to flush out these elements and deal with that. He has said that he will speak to people in the language that they understand. He should also speak to his Fulani brothers, the language that they understand, by flushing them out of the forest.
No, Mr. Akeregha. Again, Mr. Akeregha, for the purpose of context and the platform, it's important we address this as it is. Address the fighters.
Yes, yes. You see, Gumi has been talking to the fighters. So, if Gumi also says that he has the support of government, so maybe they should strengthen the Gumi effort and then bring some of them out. I don't know what they want, but I do not think that the state should surrender state power to non-state actors. These fighters and these are not Fulani herdsmen because they don't have cattle. They just carry sophisticated weapons, hide in the forest, come out and hold the rest of society waiting. So they are not herdsmen. People who say they are killer herdsmen. These are not killer herdsmen. These are fighters who invaded Nigeria, took over territory, holding the country hostage. And the territorial integrity of Nigeria is at stake. And that is the duty of the Nigerian Armed Forces to defend the territorial integrity of Nigeria. Now, it is a call to duty. We are not going to leave this battle for the armed forces alone to deal with. It's a call to us to wake up call for all Nigeria. We should see something, say something. But I also think that the box steps at the table of Mr. President to be decisive against his own people. That is really the question.
Now, at the state government level, what is responsibility for security?
At the state government level, the issue of state police and state security apparatus is over too. The good thing now is that, the National Service is beginning to look at it through this constitutional review process. And the 17 fighter governors have made it very clear that, they wanted the dialogue and they have insisted on open grazing that will be effective on September 1. And of course, state police is also on the tables, on the card. So we shouldn't be wasting time in putting in place a lot of this machinery. For example, the Southwest has put in place Amoteku, which is the regional security outfit of the Southwest. Since Amoteku came into effect, you see the kind of extreme brigades and extreme attacks in the Southwest. It has been made to the board. So it clearly shows, and for those who argue that state police will be abused by state governments, now, from what has happened in the Southwest, is a clear example that nobody is going to accuse them. Nigeria is a federation, it's component federating unit. So we must have state police, local government police. So deal with local government issues, state security challenges. The state governors who are the chief security officers of that state must now be allowed to exercise their full constitutional responsibility over security issues in their state. Moving forward, I think that's the practical way out of it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Akeregha, for your time. It's been quite the session. We appreciate it. Have yourself a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you for the privilege for me to talk to you. Thank you.
That was a pleasure. Well, there you have it. New level unlocked. Bandits demanding food so that students do not starve. How would you make of this? 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0007. And of course, WhatsApp and Telegram 080-903-06416. Please turn off your radio as you call. Good morning. The issue of banditry in the northern part and some other parts of the south has political coloration. The beast created is eating what the beast eats. The truth to be said, I'm yet to see. Oh, Marigia. Oh, okay. I'll just skip that part of your statement. But thank you very much. The bandit issue in the country is becoming very funny. How can you come and kidnap children from a school and later request for feeding from their parents? This country in a real drama. Harry from OGRA. Well, Harry, a better option would have been to leave the kids with their parents that fed them well. I think they prefer feeding in the home environment. All right, so I'll be taking calls shortly. And Jerry says the country has become a joke. Well, that's why we talk for development, to get it more serious about the business of development. Over now to Facebook, where comments are waiting to be read. Okay. Pius from Emoha is on the phone. Good morning, Pius.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If you look at what is happening in the country today, you discover that right from onset, when Muhammad Buhari took over this government, many of us were jumping up and down, somersaulting, because Muhammad Buhari has taken the lead. He is a soldier. He is an army. He knows look and trace where to discover all these boys. And we have Nigerian soldiers who knows all those places, can be able to trace these people and get away. My brother and my sister, see, what is happening in this nation is very, very appalling. We are very, very ashamed of Muhammad Buhari's leadership. So what happened is this. Many people who are happy when this man took over should suffer it. We are going to suffer it.
No. Again, we all have, it's one man, one vote. And everybody will vote for someone. The administration may not play out as you want it, but hey, it happens. And the president was, he no longer is, he was a soldier. A lot of people believe that that experience with the army would help to tackle issues that border specifically on security. It's a question of how that is playing out. Alfonso from Transamadi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, this thing happening in the north. They carry many children, and you see, we have majority of the armed forces from that region. Is that not true?
Go ahead. We're listening.
I mean, the majority of the armed police army, they are the greatest.
Okay.
If I stand to challenge, and now you carry more than how many up to 300 children, and they don't know where it is. I can't believe that. Maybe this is a teamwork.
Okay.
Well, no problem.
Well, Chris from Artillery, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, let me talk about bandits kidnapping our children, and now they are requesting for food. Yes, they are patriotic Nigerians. The business they are doing is a legitimate business. They should give them food first. Let's feed those children first.
Well, who is in a legitimate business? The bandits or the parents? What business are you talking?
No, now they came to kidnap the children, and now they are requesting for money.
For food?
Like
food.
Some of our leaders told us that the bandits, we should treat them, we should not call them names so that they will not get angry and kill those children. That's why I'm addressing them. I don't know who is listening to me. They are patriotic Nigerians. Please, they should not harm our children. We are bringing food for them to feed our children.
Oh my goodness. It's difficult to be a Nigerian with reason when you listen to some of the things that people in positions of authority and influence say. How do you defend such statements? And I understand the position of this young man. I also understand the position of my guest who said a lot of the things that the political elite have said to a large extent has put us where we are. When there is defense for people who engage in criminal activities, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a crime. Kidnapping, abduction, they are all crimes. But when you have people in power defend that behavior or the people themselves, what happens to those who know how things should work? It's a difficult position, not impossible one, but difficult. Wisdom Eke says, that is business as usual. I weep for my country. Amen. How come such goodies get to these bad guys without trails to nab them? I can smell a snake. There are many things that people are smelling. And Otioko, some politicians are taking advantage of the insecurity in the north to cash out. There have been lots of conspiracies around all of this. But you and I know what needs to be done. Our guest has said it, experts have said it, you and I have thought it, and we're hoping. Because again, do not forget, I end on a hope of note. A note of hope, sorry. There was a bit of a mix-up there. I end on a note of hope. We are hoping that once again, like we hoped the other time, these kids regain freedom. We are hoping that the food that will be used to feed them, whether it comes from the parents or the bandits, eventually get to the hungry kids. And once again, being a citizen of Nigeria is not an uphill climb. Connect with us at Nigeria Info PH on all platforms. The conversation does not end on radio. It continues on social media with moi at Sparkling Oracle on all platforms. Have yourself a wonderful Thursday.
The Morning Cross 5.